you today? We're running just a few minutes late. Sorry, some technical difficulties, but we are live right here on LEAD Brevard's Facebook page. Welcome to Leader for a Wednesday. Can you believe it? July 1st, 2020. Yep, 6 months down, 6 to go. Who knows what's coming our way? Just take the dice and roll and we'll see what happens. But hope it doesn't come up snake eyes for us or for you. Let's just keep having a great time and doing what we're doing and enjoy this episode of Leader. It is brought to you by LEAD Brevard, Brevard County's leadership development and leadership community development and deployment organization. That means they just take care of it from your professional to the community side. If you're a leader in the community, you should be part of Leadership Brevard and the LEAD Brevard organization. I'm your host, Geo Ropert from Ropert and Partners Public Relations, a 2001 graduate of Leadership Brevard, of course, the best class ever. And I'm so glad that you've taken the time to join us today live or hopefully on the replay if you don't get a chance to do it here. And we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12:15 p.m. on the LEAD Brevard Facebook page. It's been a great run, and we hope that we will continue that. Each show, we bring on a Leadership Brevard graduate, someone who's been through this incredible program, and talk to them about their profession themselves, their insights into leadership, their experience, of course, in Leadership Brevard, because everybody has a unique take on what that whole program is about, and of course, how they're adapting their leadership styles and strategies in these very challenging times. Let me tell you a couple of things before we get going here. I know we were a few minutes late, but we still will take the full time to have with our very special guest today. If you are interested in being part of the Leadership Brevard program, they now are accepting applications, and we hope that you will choose to join if you haven't already. If you know someone who should be part of Leadership Brevard, let them know that those are opening. You can get more information on the LEAD Brevard Facebook page at leadbrevard.org, or you can call 321-205-3155. And also, if you're interested in sponsoring Leader to Leader, as I've said before, the show will continue on. The show must go on, and it will. And we'd like to have you as a sponsor. You get some great perks out of it, a great investment into the organization and into the program itself. Again, go to LEAD Brevard's Facebook or LEAD Brevard's website, or call them 321-632-8222, and on with the show as we go. I've had some great guests, and they continue to be great. A very good friend of mine, I met her when we were doing, we were both very much involved in government affairs. And I am so happy that she's chose to join us today. I have with us Shayla Murray. How you doing today, Shayla?
I am well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored that you've joined us today. I really do. I admire you. When we first met, we were doing government affairs work. You were working with Kendall Moore over at Space Coast Strategies. And I was chairing the government affairs committee for the Cocoa Beach Chamber, and right away, boy, I tell you what, you were right on top of things, and you, especially when it comes to government affairs, which not a lot of people have a big passion for, but you did, and your insights were so valuable, and your knowledge of what goes on in government, especially behind the scenes, was really a big, and I tell you, a big help to me. And I did look to you oftentimes for your insights into what was going on. So I'm so happy to have you here today. And tell us a little bit about yourself, because you do have a great background, not only what we just talked about, but what you're doing today too.
Yes. So I was, as you know, I was a government relations consultant with Space Coast Strategy with Kendall Moore. I left that about a year. It's coming up on a year. And I am known as a PK, which is a pastor's kid. So I decided to go back to school to get my master's degree in church management. And I decided to join the family business, which is ministry, and to become the administrative director at Oil of Joy Church Ministries based in Cocoa. So basically, my job is to oversee the administration and business aspects of the ministry.
That's fantastic. And it really, that was kind of a big jump from one side to the.
One would think, but it's really not. And what I've learned, I'm one of those weird people that I just love administration. I like processes. I like things to kind of, I want to know how things work, how they're going, make sure everyone knows their lane and their perspective. And you can do that in government, you can do that in church, you can do that at a wedding. I mean, I just like planning and putting things together. So it's a skill that kind of transcends careers.
Okay, yeah. Well, and you said your mom, who is the pastor of the church, really more enjoys her role as the pastor,
Right.
whereas she doesn't necessarily like the administrative side, which you do.
Right, exactly. And I've learned she's more of a visionary and I'm very task oriented. So we work well together because she really has a heart for the people and a heart for ministry. And she wants everybody to know about Jesus. And my job is to make sure she can do that as effectively and efficiently as possible.
That's wonderful. That's great. And then you also have another company. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, so I'm also the co-owner and director of operations for Tropical Sports and Wellness, which is basically a sporting event management company. And one of the biggest events that we have is called the Cairo Games. And that is where about 500 chiropractic students from the United States and Canada land in Cocoa Beach and participate in intramural sports like basketball, soccer, hockey, bowling. I mean, a plethora of things, and they're here for a weekend. So managing it's all about managing people. Managing 500 college students is a fun task.
I can imagine. Hopefully they have chiropractors on site to help them if they get out of line during the game.
Yes, yes. And I try to sneak in a few, back cracks here and there as well.
Absolutely. I know my chiropractor is always there every year and supportive of that as well. So that's great. It really is. And you were graduating. What year was your graduation?
2017, best class ever. And there was an app for that. So.
Oh, really?
Yes, we had the first app.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's pretty cool. So, okay, you get a better than the other classes ever.
Exactly. And I'm glad you added it, not me, and you understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody who has gone to Leadership Brevard understands the best class ever term, and then also, of course, what goes on in SimSoc. So,
Right.
two things. But those are, until you've gone through it, you officially can't say it. So. Hey, Shayla, you have led in various capacities, and can you share a little bit about your leadership style, what you consider strong leadership traits, because especially in the diverse work you do?
Absolutely. So I would say my leadership style, I'm a servant leader. I really believe in service to others over myself. That's just who I am. I want to make sure that you get what you need. And then I'm also task oriented. And typically you can either be task oriented or relationship oriented. I drive more towards the task. As it relates to traits, I think there's a plethora of different traits that everyone can have. But for me personally, I look for people who are selfless, who can motivate, who can influence and inspire, people that are honest and integral. And honestly, I think as a millennial, emotional intelligence is so important. And not that you have to be there all the way, but at least be able to ask for help as it relates to that, because compassion and empathy are so important. And I think in this new age of leaders, those are two things that you have to have. And if not, you're hurting more than you are helping.
Yeah, no, that's a great insight, and I think that speaks to great self-awareness. Where you realize where your strengths are and where those things are that you need to and always be aware of and trying to improve and you know what, it's okay to be a millennial. says the last of the boomers.
I'm the older generation of the millennials, so we're a little bit more weird, Ben.
Well, everybody's got them, and we always back and forth. I think it's the person. It's the person, like I said, who is self-aware, who understands their strengths, who understands their weaknesses, and tries to always improve on both, and tries to make their world a little bit better place every day. So I appreciate what you do and how you do it. So very much so. Tell me a little bit about your experience with Leadership Brevard, because everybody has one.
Yeah, for sure. So, you asked that question to just about everybody, and I was really trying to think of a good answer. And honestly, it was the relationships. I've been to weddings, I've been to baby showers. I love all of the friends that I gained from that experience. Also, I really took to heart the challenge of anyone in Leadership Brevard, if they call you within two people, you should be able to get an answer to them or get them connected to the person. So, and especially being in government affairs, you get to know a lot of people and work with a lot of different companies and build a lot of different great relationships. So I really take on that challenge and try to make sure if I get a phone call from any of my peers or anyone that was in Leadership of Art in general, I try to really direct them to an area that I think will be best and help them answer their questions. And one of the other aspects that I really learned was it helps me be comfortable in my leadership skin. Being new in my career, you don't really see yourself as a leader sometimes. You just kind of, I'm the type of person I like to have my head in the sand and get the job done. And Leadership of Art really forced me to kind of take my head out of the sand and really focus and say, hey, you are a leader and people are going to call on you to be a leader. So you need to kind of become in tune with your leadership skills. So I really appreciate that. And I am very comfortable because of Leadership Brevard and those experiences with the leadership skin that I'm in.
That is a very unique perspective. I have never heard anybody yet say that. Thank you for sharing that, and that takes a lot from you to say that. To say, I'm young in my career, I'm up and coming, and that you want to be a leader, and I've always looked at you as one, and I know our community does. So yes.
The thing,
Wrap-
sometimes I was like, wait, what? Me?
yeah.
Leader? Are you sure? And I was like, okay, wait, there's a reoccurring theme here. And I really had to hone in on that skill. And I was like, okay, you are a leader and you are advancing towards being a community leader. And are you comfortable with that? And the answer was yes. And I was like, okay, you need to focus on that and see yourself as that. And when you have people like, your Kendall Moores and your Kristen Bakis of the world, when they ask you to do something, if they asked you, you have the skills to get it done. You have the leadership techniques to get it done. So you trust them. And sometimes it was just trusting that they called me to it. And then it kind of gelled into believing in myself as well.
Absolutely. Hey, that's great. Thank you. That was a wonderful perspective. I like that. And I hope the people who are watching can take some of that, especially our younger leaders, because, we are looking towards our younger leaders as they come in the next generation, because, there's a lot of folks been doing things for a long time. I mean, if you go back 10, 20 years, and I've watched the old guard who was here and very much kind of set the tone for what Brevard County is. And now seeing all these leaders come through over the years, it is just really something to behold and to see how many people are really invested in this community and want to make it a better place. And thank you for being one of those. And we'll be looking forward to your leadership for many years to come. So get ready for it.
Thank you. And that was the thing. I was always in the room with, the Kendall Moores of the world and that older generation. So Leadership Brevard really introduced me to my peers, like your Sarah Stockles and your Alton Edmonds and your Kenny Johnsons and Carla's. And so it was like, okay, there's a generation of peers my age and we're working up this thing together. So it was great.
Get ready, here you come.
Yes,
So,
get ready.
Shayla, share with me how you've been adapting your leadership style, and especially during this time, because I imagine with the ministry there are a lot of changes going on, and I'm assuming with the games and the events that you're putting on. How are you handling and managing and leading through this time?
Flexibility, which wasn't always a strong suit of mine, but you just learn to be flexible with, let's say for the Cairo games, for example, there's a lot of things we can't put in place yet, and we're just waiting to see what happens. And then in ministry, not very much shuts down a church where you don't meet on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So this is a whole new world. And then it's also figuring out, because when you have 200 people that you're trying to connect with and remind them that God loves them and that although today may be a tough day, we still have to find the greater good. That's hard to communicate to people via text or a Zoom or Facebook Live. So it's being able to reach all of those people and connect with them in a way that touching them and hugging them and embracing them you can't do anymore. So it's being flexible, finding out what works today may not work tomorrow, and just constantly turning over that wheel and making it work.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is, and sometimes you know, being there on the front lines of that, you know, you hear how do the churches handle, you know, ministering to their congregations, and we really had to do some adaptations. Everybody says pivot. I think adaptation probably a more appropriate word, to make sure that you are able to serve those people and that they do still feel part of your community, and really to be able to continue to do that is admirable. So thanks for sharing that as well. I'm going to kind of wrap up the show here real quick, and then I'm going to bring you back on and say our final goodbyes. But Shayla, it is really great to have you here today. When I saw that you were coming on, I said this is going to be a very good show because again, such a good friend, and you've done so much for our community. So I'm gonna wrap it up and then come back and say our final goodbyes. But want to remind you, you've been listening or watching, maybe you were just listening, and that's okay, with Shayla Murray, my guest right here on Leader to Leader. It happens every single Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12:15 p.m. on the LEAD Brevard Facebook page. Catch it there live or watch the replay. If you're interested in being a part of the program, we are looking for our Leadership Brevard graduates to step up and be seen and be heard. Share with us your unique perspectives on what's going on in the leadership community, in your community, whether it's your professional role, your community service role, however you are serving Brevard County. We'd like to hear a little bit about it and hear from you. We don't get to see all of our friends now, so this is one of the best ways to connect. Not only are you supporting LEAD Brevard with your message, but you're also supporting our community and sharing some very valuable insights. Additionally, if you would like to be a sponsor of Leader to Leader, please let us know. This is a great investment. It is an opportunity for you to get some exposure. We'll talk about you. We'll showcase you. We'll make sure that people know that you are supporting the organization and the program. You can find out more information by going to the LEAD Brevard website at leadbrevard.org or calling Kristen Bakke and her team at 321-632-8222. And then I get to put my little blurb in here as well. If you're a business or organization that needs to elevate their brand, get more recognition, enhance your reputation, communicate with your audiences, and grow your business, then this is the firm to call. That's Ropert and Partners. That's my firm. Got my name in it. And you can find more about us at Ropert and the word and partners.com. That's ropertandpartners.com, or call us at 321-205-3155 if you're interested in having some communication upgrades to what's going on right now. I put together a coronavirus crisis communication guide. It's free. It's on our website's homepage. If you would like to get a complimentary consultation and walk through some strategies, maybe there's some things you need to be able to do to communicate with your audiences a little better, whether it be your employees, your customers, your shareholders, or the community. Get on the phone. We'll have a complimentary call. It's just my way of paying it forward to our community, helping out where I can. Again, that number 321-205-3155. Shayla, it has been a great time. Thank you again for coming on board and being here with me today. Really had a great conversation with you. I wish you nothing but the best in everything that you're doing. Can't wait to see you again somewhere in public when they finally let us out, and we'll just keep working hard to make Brevard a better place to live, work, and play.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. All right. Hey, and you have yourself a great day. Come back tomorrow. We've got Bill Davis is going to be joining us, and then some very special guests coming up next week. You'll not want to miss a single show. Thanks again for joining Leader to Leader. I'm Geo Ropert. Have a great day, everybody.